Hi guys, we've finally got an update on the AMT Capri. This one's been sitting for absolutely ages, waiting for me to do more on it, but what with one thing or another, it's kind of fallen by the wayside. But I'm wanting to get this completed so that I can actually give this to my my neighbour who I'm building it for. You'll notice, looking at this bit here, I did say that I was going to do the rocker covers and the air filter in chrome, and I did actually spray that gloss black in preparation for it. However, I decided to stick with more sort of traditional styling on this. I thought the whole sort of tarted up fancy chrome thing just didn't really fit with the 70s Capri look, so so I'm just going with a nice gloss black, as if it's been sort of painted and it's nice and shiny. The original would have been more of a satin black, but this is more it's just been sort of cleaned up and made to look nice. I'm going to weather the sort of the bulkhead and the inner wing areas a little bit, and the strut tops and a couple of bits are going to be painted as well yet. But before I show you some more detailed images of the things that have been done, I wanted to particularly just quickly show you this. This that you see here is one of the exhaust manifolds. Now, I made a massive error here. I fitted the engine and all the running gear and everything underneath, as you can see. Before fitting these, I literally just realised a couple of moments ago that these were still on the sprue, and I'd completely forgotten to fit the exhaust manifolds. I've managed to wiggle one of them in on the left hand side from underneath, and this one I've got a little bit more clearance because I've not got the air filter inlet port in the way, so I should be able to wiggle this one in from the top, fingers crossed that that will all work out there and not look too bad. It's a ridiculous thing to do, but because I've glued in the engine and all the steering components and everything else that it's mounted to, I can't, without taking all of those off and risking further damage, I can't pull the whole lot out just to glue this in. So hopefully this will go in fine. But by the by, this what I'm going to show you here, you see this is a kind of a grey colour, a dull grey colour. Now this is Humbrol metal coat. This is the iron, I think it is, and it is paint number 27003, which is either stainless steel or iron, I think, off the top of my head. But I find this one is a brilliant colour for exhaust parts, because when you polish it, it looks like that. Now, if I can kind of rotate that a bit so you can get an idea. And it looks fantastic. So for your typical stainless steel exhausts, it's a great paint. Now, it looks like this to start with, and then you take a cotton bud, or if you've got a larger part, a cloth, and you just give it a bit of a buff, as you can see, and it goes from that plain horrible dull grey looking paint to this fabulous shiny reflective metallized steel colour, which I think is great. There are 4 colours in the metal coat range. There's plain aluminium, there's polished aluminium. I'm not overly keen on either of those. The polished aluminium on large parts, when you can give it a really good buff with a cloth, looks quite good. On smaller parts, it's hard to get a good shine. But then the other 2 colours, which is the steel and gunmetal, both polish up amazingly well. They're really, really good, and I would recommend those. And they'll brush paint on very well, and they'll airbrush straight from the tin as well. They're actually quite thin for Humbrol enamel paints. I'm going to go ahead now and give this finish polishing this up and then get that glued into the model and start putting more of the model kit together. And I'll show you some close-up images of the parts that I took prior to fitting them in the engine bits and pieces, and give you a bit of a talk through of where we're at. And then the next video we should be seeing the completed model. As you can see here, we have the completed engine assembly. The gearbox has been painted in satin black and dry brushed with grey, silvery grey steel colour. It was a while ago, I can't remember exactly, but probably Citadel Mithril Silver or something like that, at a guess. The sump pan is just done in a plain satin black. I wanted to make the engine stand out a little bit more, so rather than just do it in plain aluminium or in black, I did that in red. A sort of a nice deep red, so it looks quite nice. The rocker covers are gloss black, as is the air filter. Both of those I was going to do in alclad chrome. However, I didn't feel that it was really fitting to the type of vehicle, the age of the vehicle and everything else, so I just went with gloss black, so it looks nice. The originals would have been more of a satin black, but I think that looks quite nice still. And then here we've got the fan, which would have been metal, also in gloss black. The pulleys in gloss black, and NATO black for matte black for the belts, and a mithril silver aluminium for the alternator and the smog pump, apparently. Just at the back here you can see the distributor cap, which is done in it's a model colours colour. I think it's flesh base, I believe it is, but it's sort of similar looking to that Bakelite brown that a lot of aftermarket distributor cap covers came in. These next pictures show the bonnet or hood, the upper side in its gloss green, and then the underside with its moulded sound deadening heat reflecting panel, which is painted silver with the bands that hold it in place painted in a very dark brown, almost black colour. Here we have the complete exhaust system front to rear, including the mufflers, and the whole thing is painted, as are the exhaust manifolds, in Humbrol metal coat polished steel and buffed with a Q-tip or cotton bud. In this next series of images we see the body tub showing the seats, steering wheel, dashboard, etc. I've not gone too in depth on the detail in here. And then the underside, which I've painted in a satin black and has been dry brushed with a sort of dusty brown colour, a pale brown colour, just to simulate a bit of general road dust and dirt rather than excessive wear. These next two images show the body shell with after the clear coat and the windscreen rubbers painted. And now we see a bunch of miscellaneous items, starting with the wheels and tyres. The tyres I'm not happy about because they're plastic moulded tyres which I had to super glue together. They're weird, they're hard plastic, they're not styrene because they wouldn't glue with styrene cement. But they don't look too bad, I guess, overall, and they've got nicely moulded Goodyear sort of logos on there. Although they do look a bit out of scale on the body, but you'll see that in the final completed model reveal. The wheels are sort of mini-light style wheels, which I painted in Humbrol polished aluminium, and then put an oil wash on just to pop a little bit of the detail. Over from that we have the radiator and part of the front subframe assembly that carries the wheels and steering assembly, and then the rear differential and leaf springs, which have been painted and weathered, same as the floor pan. And then we have the rear panel and both bumpers or fenders, which are painted in satin black. And you'll see the exhaust manifolds, one unpolished and one polished, as I demonstrated earlier in this video. And then finally the grille and light assembly. Now this was all moulded in white styrene, and the lights are actually moulded in as white styrene as well, with instructions telling you to paint them in silver. Now personally I think that looks terrible. I've never liked kits that do that have the silver moulded headlights. I always preferred the dish type with the clear headlights that you can stick on, because they just look far more realistic. I wasn't really sure what to do with this, so what I did ultimately is I painted the rest of the grille and I left them white. I have actually cleaned them up a little bit more since, so the black's not creeping into them as much. And my thinking behind this was it may look as if the lights are switched on, which in my mind has to be better than painting them silver, I think. In this final set of images, we see the body tub again, but with an addition. You'll notice in the boot, or the trunk if you're American, there's an item, and that item, although it may not be glaringly obvious at first, was a last minute thing. I wanted to put something in there. I was actually thinking about doing a miniature magazine, something like Fast Ford magazine, or American Muscle Car, or that kind of thing. Something that my neighbour would appreciate, because he's into, he likes his cars, and he likes the muscle car kind of thing and everything. But he also has a carpet shop, and he fits carpets. So what we have in the boot, or the trunk, is a carpet sample pack. So there you go. That's displayed sort of as if it's just been casually tossed into the boot while he's on his way to or from a job, and with a sample for some clients or what have you. I thought that would just be a nice little touch.